Record to the. Hello, my friends, and guess what time it is? Yes, it is. It's Jan over there, Jan Sumner. It's Dan and Jan Go Yard, another episode, and without technical difficulties, which we had the other day. And so we're going to talk about some interesting things.
It's been an interesting few weeks with health issues, travel, technical issues.
Yes, it's been very enlightening, fun, and frustrating.
And
Technical issues, frustrating,
challenging as well. Yeah.
Very challenging. Yes. And talk about challenging. I want to talk to you about a pitching staff that's having problems. Not the whole staff, but the bullpen. I don't know if you realize this, but the Washington Nationals, not to be confused with the Senators, okay? The Washington Nationals won the first of 4-game series from the Phillies. And then the Phillies, in the next 3 games, went into the top of the 9th. In 2 of those cases, 2 outs and 2 strikes on the batter. And the Phillies came back and won all 3 games with home runs. Each time it was a go-ahead home run in the top of the 9th. The first time in baseball history that 3 consecutive games have been won in the top of the 9th by the opposing team or by any team, and obviously the opposing team in the top of the 9th. And Phillies won. I mean, it's the first time in baseball history, and baseball's been around for a long time. And in the post-game show, they were, of course, talking about the Phillies, and Bryce Harper hit one, and Stott hit one, and Hill hit one, and Schwarber, who was out for 2 days because of back problem, he had a big walk in one of those games. But they were talking about the Nationals bullpen.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. And why is that? How can they have all these guys on their staff who have the worst ERA of any team in the majors? And even to the point where the Phillies brought in a guy who, when we had our technical difficulties, I said I have to walk out of the room.
Yeah.
And actually, he pitched great. Okay, so
good.
I last night, but you're the pitcher. Okay, and by the way, for all of you who aren't aware, but you should be, Jan for 6 years was the batting practice pitcher for the Colorado Rockies in the major leagues, obviously, and was on his way to become a major leaguer until he had an almost fatal car accident. Correct.
And then I worked with pitchers for major league guys on down for 18 years. So
yeah, you coached them and helped.
Right.
So what is it that makes a staff, a relief staff, ineffective? Is it like a virus or something? Virus, quote unquote. What goes on there? Do you think?
Well, I have no idea. No, I think it's who are you putting in the bullpen? Any team, who are you? I think I mentioned before that, for my money, Mazzoni, Leo Mazzoni, who used to be the pitching coach for the Braves in their heyday,
right?
Who was, in my estimation, brilliant. Just the things he did with those pitchers. I heard him say that when he joined the Braves, the first spring training, I guess the general manager, somebody came to him and said, "Hey, we got 20 prospects, pitching prospects." And he said, "What? Yeah, we got 20 pitching prospects." And he said, "I thought, well, the bar must be real low." Ultimately, they had about 6.
Right.
But if if you don't know pitching or you don't know what would make up a good, there's a mental difference between being a starter and a reliever and a closer.
All right.
It's
Okay.
it's not all the same. I was always a starter. I loved that. But my first year in college, you know, I mean, it was a big time program and they had starters. So they put me in the bullpen. Well,
Right.
I had no idea what.
Right.
It always took me 20 minutes to get loose. That's not the luxury of a reliever. Anyway, the point being,
That's a good point. That is a good point.
yeah, there's a different mentality for that.
Mhm.
Um, I would guess some of these bullpen pitchers were never relievers before. And you're a short term or you're just lefty on lefty, righty on righty. I mean it and and as we've discussed in the past, mechanics have gone by the boards.
Right.
It's how hard can you throw the ball? And okay, well, that's not pitching. That's throwing and hoping. What the first hope is, I'm going to throw 100. I hope it's in the strike zone. Number two is, I hope they don't hit it. Well, that's not pitching. That's just throwing the ball in and hoping that something good happens for you and the team. Um, but it's hard to today, I think, because there are so many relievers in the bullpen. Who's the leader of the group? Every
Yeah.
team, every team has on-field leaders. The Colorado Avalanche, it's Landeskog, the captain. That guy is the stud of that team. He's not the best player, but
Right.
he's the glue that holds it together. That old Braves staff, I'm taking a wild guess here that Maddox and Glavine they ran the boat there.
Yeah.
So when you've got 5, 6, 7 guys in the bullpen, I don't know who's taking leadership there.
That's a very good point. Yeah. I never really thought of it that way. I mean, I do know that Duran is the closer. Okay. He's the
Yeah,
closer. You
yeah,
never see him come in the eighth inning or the seventh inning, or he's it. And
right.
it's a good thing to see because you know who's coming in as a closer. If it's three or less runs on the
Right,
line, the other
right.
day he was getting up, and then the Phillies scored all these runs, right? And
Yeah,
it went to 4 runs, then 5 runs, and he sat down.
yeah,
So, you
yeah,
know,
yeah. And part of the scenario is that you have lots of Latin pitchers now,
right,
a great number of them in the bullpen, and there are probably a lot of guys that have grown up in America here playing college ball, whatever, who don't speak Spanish.
right. That's
And
true.
that can be kind of a detriment with regard to communication. Look at the Japanese pitchers, and the pitching coach goes to the mound and he's got to take an interpreter with him.
Right. Just, yes.
So it's it's just a more of a complex thing now. But for me, it's nobody is teaching pitching and nobody's teaching mechanics. It's just go out there and gun it, kid, and
Yeah.
we'll hope for the best. I mean, what closer in baseball now doesn't touch 100? They all do.
They all do. Yeah.
And remember Gagne threw he was a closer for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He
Gagne.
was, yeah, he would get up near 100, but he had a devastating curveball, slider. I think the Red Sox were in town last week or early this week. They've got Chapman, one of the great closers of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They brought him in. He had I don't know, couple 3-run lead, and the Rockies lit him up.
Yeah.
4 hits in a row, and he didn't look confident to me.
It's weird.
Now, he's older for sure, but He can still touch 100.
Yeah.
And but if that's my bread and butter pitch as a hitter, I'm going to go, gee, I think I'll set on a fastball here. And then it's look for location.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for, hey, I want a fastball right here. And if I get it, boom.
But it's very interesting to me that a lot of people, like I'll sit in front of the TV and do my thing, like, oh no, and how could he miss that pitch and all this other stuff. But I might have mentioned this earlier. Um, I was at the Hall of Fame, right? And that's
Yeah.
your hat.
Yeah.
You're in the Hall of
Right.
Fame.
Right.
So I went into the, they have that field, right? So I go to the pitching machines, and you start off at 60 miles an hour, and this was years ago,
Right.
maybe 30, 40 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, maybe 40 years ago, maybe more.
You were
Uh,
18.
I was I was 18. That's true, and a half, 18
Oh,
and a half.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's 60. Okay, that's fast when you're are older in your 50s
Sure.
or 40s. And when it gets to 100 or 90, the people that are up at the plate, the time, and we talked about this before our technical difficulties, and we touched on that again about stride and all that.
Right.
But the people who are up at the plate, they have a split second to make a decision to hit a ball that's moving up, down, in, out, and get a hit. And I was watching the game yesterday, and I said to my wife, this is why baseball is so amazing compared to the other games. The other games, a football player runs
Right.
out, the ball is not coming at 100 miles an hour, okay,
No.
and they have a chance to catch it. Hockey, okay, moves fast, and
Right.
you're
Right. Yeah.
that's a little tough, uh, but it's still not coming at your head, okay, and usually, and uh, basketball is like the other two, but it's a big ball and it's not
Sure.
going 100 miles an hour. And soccer is kicking around a ball, okay?
Right.
Moving fast, but it's kicking around a ball. I played it for a number of years. But baseball, the timing is so amazing to me
Yeah.
that, I can scream and yell at the screen, but I'm not standing at the plate with is somebody throwing 102 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour,
No.
moving, and it's going down, it's going in, it's going out. Like sometimes I'll see somebody chasing a pitch, and I say, how can they chase that pitch? And it looks
Yeah.
like right at you, and it goes like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and like Ted Williams said, you're hitting a round object with a round object.
Correct.
And there is no, somebody said to him once, golf is more. And he said, I'm sorry, I don't think the ball's moving in golf. Yeah. I got drilled once right here with a 95 plus fastball in my arm, and it kind of paralyzed my arm.
Oh, I get it.
It's just on you so fast that reaction time is minimal at best.
Yes, and if the guy's wild,
Then you're on your toes.
yeah, it's like you probably remember this. It was the All-Star game, and John Kruk was at bat, and
Johnson,
Randy Johnson was
the
pitching
unit. Yeah.
the big unit, and he threw almost behind John Kruk's head. So John Kruk was like, and it became an iconic scene, and they were laughing and everything else.
Right, right.
But you don't want to. First of all, Randy Johnson was 8'10", right? So by the time he released the ball, it's like
He was a big dude. Oh yeah, he was so close to the plate. So if he threw the ball 95 because of his extension, it was like 105 at the plate.
Right.
because he'd
Yeah.
only had to travel 50 feet, you know.
We were talking about that. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
speed, how does that break down from stride to relevance to speed for a pitch?
Well, um, I was taught by a brilliant, he's in the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame, and he was just a brilliant pitching coach and was never a pitcher. He was a catcher.
Wow. Oh, sort
His
of
name's
makes you get that.
Bus Campbell. Yeah,
Yeah.
he signed Roy Halladay.
Wow.
Anyway, um, he taught me mechanics, and because when I played shortstop. I wasn't a pitcher,
Huh.
and till I got to high school, and I didn't want to pitch. I wanted to play shortstop, but I threw so hard that anyway, I wound up pitching. But I had no clue. You talk about step and throw. That was me. One thing, here it comes, just a bullet. Anyway, he taught me mechanics, and part of that was that you should stride at least 90% of your height. If you're 6 feet tall, you ought to come close to striding 6 feet.
Right.
Izarowski, the kid that he's throwing today, I think he's 6'4", 6'5". He's the longest strider in MLB pitchers.
Really?
Yeah. Number one, when you do that, you're using, this is a shocker, your legs.
Right.
If you watch a guy, if you're really watching the mechanics of somebody pitching, and you watch a guy throw a fastball, and his push-off foot, let's say he's right-handed, so his right foot pushing off the rubber, when it comes off, it's kind of dragging in the dirt, he's not using his legs. That should be that's why the rubber's there, to push off of.
Well,
So you should stride at least 90% of your height.
that's a good point. I never thought of the reason the rubber was there.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And it's funny. My brother-in-law used to be a scout for don't get me started on scouts, scout for the Yankees and then the Mets. Anyway, there was a kid that the Mets had drafted throwing up in Boulder, and he knew I worked with tons of pitchers. Hey, would you come up and take a look at this kid? The cross checker, the scouting system, the cross checker is kind of the big dog. He's going to be in to take a look at this kid. And I said, okay. So I go up to Boulder, big strapping left-handed kid, and he's throwing. It's in the summer. He's throwing against a high school team. I think he just finished high school, and so I watch him warm up, and he's 6'4", probably can't break a pane of glass.
Wow.
And his legs are just along for the ride. And so anyway, he throws and gets knocked around pretty good. And anyway, after the game, the cross checker comes over and, well, what did you think? And I said, what other positions does he play? And I said, well, his arm, it looks like he's got a pretty good arm, but he's not using his legs at all. And what? I said, he's not using his legs. He ought to be striding at least 6 feet, and he's not coming close to that. And this guy looks at me and he goes, well, that's old school. And I said, yeah, I know. It's old school, for Seaver and Koufax and Gibson. And, I named a bunch. And that seemed to honk him off, and he left. And that kid never pitched in college. But they had drafted him out of high school.
Wow.
So it's not that kid's fault.
No, it's not. He was taught correctly.
Nobody had told him, hey, you need to get out toward home plate. I think I've told you, would add plate 17 inches wide.
Yeah.
You throw off the rubber, you're in a 17-inch tunnel. Yankee Stadium, North High School, you're in a 17-inch tunnel. You have to go down the tunnel to deliver the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go over here. You go out of the tunnel, hello, ball's not going to be a strike.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, you need to stride toward home plate.
Do you know how long or wide the rubber is?
24, I think.
24? Mm.
And that's another thing you'll see, and I got this from Tony Gwynn said this once. So I'm a right-handed pitcher, and I'm facing a right-handed hitter, and I stand as far as I can toward the first base side, so my toe is just barely touching the rubber.
Right, okay.
So when I come around to deliver the ball, the hitter is going to really pick that up early. I used to demonstrate this for pitchers. I'd say, you go stand there like a hitter. Now you tell me how quick you pick the ball up. However, if I move to the middle of the rubber, or ideally the third base side of the rubber, they're going to pick the ball up way late.
Huh.
It's going to come out. Tony Gwynn said he tried to pick the pitch up by looking at the logo on the bill of the cap, because invariably the hand would come out from behind there. But you'll see some of these guys, and I know they think, well, when I come around, if I'm on the first base side of the rubber, when I come around, I'm lined up with home plate. Well, you are, but the hitter can pick the ball up faster. It's just, there's a lot of subtleties. I don't think anybody's showing these guys any of this stuff.
Well, the people I would listen to would be Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think, or Mazzoni.
Or Mazzoni. And the point you brought up about the catcher being the pitcher's pitching coach makes perfect sense, because they're watching this person throw every time.
Yeah.
And they're going to say to him, your leg, your head.
Oh, they don't. Yeah. And I think the vast majority of pitchers today, they don't call their own game. They throw whatever's called.
Yeah.
For instance, with the Rockies, the pitching coach calls the game from the dugout.
Really?
Yeah. And how am I going to learn to pitch if somebody else is calling the pitches?
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Well, that happens lots in high school, college. The pitching coach, or they'll call the pitches. And I suppose maybe now that's kind of the way it is in the minor leagues. But you get an old veteran, Scherzer, DeGrom, really, they're going to call their own game.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to set hitters up. And you can't do that if you're just looking, okay, a fastball. Why am I throwing this pitch? What,
somebody on a distant planet telling you what to do. They're sitting and they have that thing on their wrist now.
Well, the catcher does, but if he looks into the dugout, like the Rockies pitcher, he does signs. I coached a high school baseball team, and I was trying to get the pitchers to call their own game. But early on in the season, I said, I'll call the game. But when I send in a pitch to you, before you throw it, think about, why am I throwing this pitch? Why does he want me to throw this pitch?
Yeah.
But I just did a thing like this. But you're not going to learn to pitch if you let somebody else call the game. You're like a little robot.
Yeah.
Okay, fastball. Okay. That's I don't know. It's just pitching is it's just throwing now pretty much. And Glavine and Smoltz and all these guys, you'll hear them. Yeah, pitching is packed up and left. It's just throwing.
Well, it's interesting because what do you call it? Suarez. No, that's Ranger Suarez. Sanchez, Christopher Sanchez. Although I wish the Phillies still had Ranger Suarez, but Christopher Sanchez came into last night's game with a 1.8 something ERA, phenomenal, and he had a bad game. He gave up like 5 runs in I don't know how many innings, 5 innings, and they were asking him things. And the post game show, John Marzano is John Marzano. No, what am I talking about? John Marzano went to my high school. He was a catcher, but one of the post game analysts
Right.
said, who was a catcher also for San Diego and Seattle, and he's from Philly. Um, he said he just had a bad game, and the other guy's saying like, "What's wrong? What happened? What?" He said he just had a bad game.
Right.
Sometimes a pitcher will just have a bad
Oh,
game.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he said, well, don't you think that's, he said, no, he even said it at the end of the game when they interviewed him. He said, I just had a bad game.
Oh,
My
yeah. Yeah. There are days you go out there and it just,
yeah,
you're lacking some energy. It just, the ball doesn't feel right coming out of your hand. It just,
yeah,
you can't be a stud every single time you go out. And that's a big problem for relievers when they use a guy 3 times a week or 4 times, whatever. Uh,
right.
that he's going to just be on his game every single time. No, that's not going to happen. But that's, I remember Glavin or Maddox talking about that. You're only a great pitcher when you don't have your best stuff and you figure out how to win.
Correct.
And that's easier said than done.
Well, it's interesting because the manager said, listen, he figured it out after the first inning. He gave up one more run afterwards, and he was okay and everything else.
Yeah.
And he had a bad game, and I'm sure Koufax, even though it's
Right.
probably distance, had one or two bad games, just
Oh,
like
sure. Sure. Yeah. It's usually that your secondary pitches aren't working. Because
yeah,
it's rare that you lose your fastball. Now, you may lose a little command of it, but if your working fastball is 96 miles an hour, it's probably pretty much always going to be 96.
hmm
But if you don't have your secondary pitches, the curve isn't breaking right or the slide, whatever, then you have to fall back on that fastball. Like hitters aren't going to notice this. Uh,
right, exactly.
yeah.
And the thing is, it's Ben Davis. I just remembered his name, who's
Hmm.
one of the analysts, and the other one's Ricky Patalico, and Michael Barkan is the sort of the host of the show. But Ben Davis was a catcher, and
Hmm.
Patalico was a pitcher. They analyze things very well.
Sure.
Look, it's Chris. Every pitcher has one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just impossible. Well, goalies get pulled in the NHL because they give up 3 goals in the first, and it's a stud goalie, but they give up 3 goals in the first period. Or, the quarterback, oh, he's thrown 3 interceptions today. Why is that? Well, it just ain't clicking.
yeah,
For whatever reason, it's just not clicking. Or guys, he's 0 for 17. Whoa, he's a good hitter. What's that about?
yeah,
So it's, that's just part of sports.
yeah. I was 0 for my entire career, and it really affected me, and that's why I wasn't drafted by even my little league team. So, but
Oh, stop it.
but I love the game. I love it. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were you were
I don't
talking.
know. It's a difficult, well, it's the most, well, like I wrote in Becoming uh, Moonlight Graham, you
All
know,
right.
if you hit 300 in the big leagues, which doesn't seem to happen much anymore,
Oh,
you are a stud.
stud.
Really? Where else can you succeed 30% of the time and be considered anything but a dud?
Right, exactly. So you go from dud to stud. I like that. I like that
Yeah.
alliteration.
Yeah.
Uh, it's true.
Because I
Uh,
would tell people if Patrick Waugh had only made could only save 30% of shots on him, he'd have been selling cars. If John Elway had only been able to complete 30% of his passes, he'd have been selling cars earlier.
exactly.
It, no, no, no. It's you're a big time stud in baseball if you can get close to 300.
It's true. It's true. And
Yeah.
it's incredible to me that last year, Trey Turner from the Phillies won the National League batting championship.
Yeah.
This year he's having a hard time. He's like 228 or something, or whatever. I didn't look the last thing, but he had a couple of hits last night, I think. It's just, I don't know. They figure out, your weaknesses, or they figure something, or your timing is off, or whatever.
That's usually it's usually you're not seeing the ball well. I mean, you've heard this. Guys that are, 7 for 9, the ball looks like a balloon coming in there.
Right.
You go 0 for 15, it must look like a golf ball.
Yeah.
So and there's no, and hitters will change bats, they'll change their stance, they'll try to make these adjustments. And, I think Chipper Jones once said, stick with what got you there. It'll come back. Stick with, if
Right.
don't be
Right.
changing bats. Don't be, I'll move up in the box. I'll move up, whatever.
Mhm.
Just hang in there because uh, nobody is going to get 2, 3 hits a game for 162 games. That's not possible.
No, no.
So,
It-
but
it's
I have little use for hitters, so I don't care.
Yeah, yeah, I care, but I was little used hitter, so little used. But we were also talking about one specific pitcher who played for the Cardinals and
The
uh,
big right-hander.
big right-hander, and how he intimidated
Oh
hitters.
yeah, yeah, he did. He
Going there,
intimidated everybody.
yeah. It's like he didn't care if you were Stan Musial, Richie Ashburn, or Willie Mays, or Hank Aaron. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
what was it about him?
Well, I think we're talking about Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to bring that up because I would tell my pitchers, and this would be Gibson to the max. I would tell my pitchers, when you walk to the mound to throw, you've got to believe 2 things. One, that you have the pitches to get these guys out. You've got the pitches. 2, that you have the control of those pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Gibbs, he had that to the max. When he walked out to the mound and towed the rubber, guys coming up knew he thinks he's better than I am. And he did. He thought, this isn't your day, dude. And he just emanated that persona, and his team bought it. I'm sure the Dodgers felt that way about Koufax. And I mean, you could go down when Randy
Sure.
Johnson threw. I'm sure his team was going, I'm glad I'm not hitting today against him. But
Steve
that was Gibson.
Carlton the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you wanted to test him, crowd the plate, you'd be picking yourself up out of the dirt because he had enough control to scare you. He didn't have to drill you. He'd just knock you down and you'd go, okay, okay. Because you knew if he wanted to hit me, he could do it.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned, yes, I had the chance to meet him.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you tell that story? Because
He was,
our technical difficulties.
yes. It was 95, 96, our first year or two at Coors, and the Cards were in town, and he was an assistant coach, And they had asked, the Cardinals had asked if they could come out early and take some infield. And, before we started BP and Rockies, sure. So I went out early. I'm just sitting in the dugout, Rockies dugout. And one of the players comes out and he goes, "Hey, look who's out there by second." And I, what? It's Gibson, my favorite right-hander of all time. And I thought, what? So, and we weren't allowed to ask for autograph. As a BP pitcher, I couldn't go, "Hey, could I get?" So I thought, I got to meet him. So they kind of were wrapping up, and I thought, I'll go get in the visitor's dugout down the steps. He's got to walk right by me. And so I go down into the dugout by the steps, and I'm thinking, what am I going to say? Oh, Mr. Gibson, I think you're the greatest right-hander of all time. You're just, I'm thinking of all these clever honorary things to say to him, and he's standing right in front of me. So that was it. We shook hands. I said hi, and okay, never mind.
Some guys have that intimidating thing about them.
Well, he caught me off guard. Because I was looking down, trying to, get my 3 active brain cells to come up with something. And then he's just standing there. Go, hi. So, but I got to meet him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a story with Steve Carlton and Larry Christensen. Right? They're both pitching for the Phillies at the time.
Carlton was a stud.
Man, he was amazing. So I go into this restaurant, which was across the street from my office and around the corner from my home in Center City, Philly. And there they are. I had just come back from a game. Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
So I had my scorecard.
Sure.
I had the pen that I was using. And I go into it. And there they are. And I go, hi, Steve and Larry and or Mr. Carlton or whatever I said. I said, would you do me a favor and sign my scorecard?
Sure.
And he was famous for not doing it. He didn't.
Oh, really?
Didn't like to do that. Yeah. Or so I was told. And he was like, and Larry Christensen said, come on, just sign the scorecard. And he did. And Larry Christensen.
Good.
Come on, get this guy for this kid. Go sign the scorecard.
Yeah. Well, you got it. You still got it, I would bet.
I got it. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff like that. I love the way you lay out all your memorabilia there. I mean, it's beautiful. I got the bats and all the balls. I got my ball.
Yeah. I've got a ton of this stuff.
Yeah, this is a no-seamer. A no-seamer. Or no-seamer. Or so it seems. Okay. But
well,
anyway,
that's a major league ball. Not a lot of seam there.
Yeah.
Is that a major league ball?
It is a major league ball.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you can see their seams are not prominent.
That's right. And I may have said this before, but I got this ball at Wrigley Field. The Phillies were playing the Cubs.
Right.
And I fly in Chicago. I flew out to Chicago to meet with him. And he had front row seats in Wrigley Field along the visitors' bullpen. In the old days, visitors' bullpen was on the field.
Right.
The bullpen was on the field. They sort of did away with that. But and I was sitting with the Phillies bullpen, basically, a seat away, a row away. And I said to him, I know I talked about this. I said, why is it that when a foul ball is hit, they always give it to a kid?
Right.
Right? Why don't they give it to an old person who waited their entire life for a stinking ball? Right? The kid is 5. Okay. He's 12. He's got another 800 years to get a ball. The old person's waited their entire life. They're our age, 105. We never got a ball. So my friend leans over and says, would you do me a favor? My my friend has waited his whole life for a foul ball, for a ball, major league ball.
Right.
He's the bullpen catcher, and he goes, "Sure,
Just gives you a ball.
just gives me a ball."
That's cool. That's cool.
That was
Yeah.
cool, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
you
And
know,
well, look how people go after
I know,
home runs, foul balls. They'll beat each other up, and I mean, it's incredible.
incredible.
And again, nobody really. You can't keep a basketball in an NBA game. You could keep a football if it's somehow winds up in the stands over the net on a kick.
Right?
Hockey, they'll throw a puck. I've got some pucks, but baseball, there's something unique and cool about it
Yeah, it's
that
like,
everybody, but I'll tell you, they're hard to sign.
oh, they are. I'm
Well, yeah,
sure
well, they're round.
they are. Yes, they are. I did notice that they
I
are.
know. Yeah, I wanted to point that up. And it's there's no place to put your hand, and it's
Yeah,
uh,
it's a skill you got to learn. It,
yeah, which I never. And I let's be honest, I never had to sign very many baseballs, but uh,
still, I mean, somebody must have asked you to sign it, a ball.
yeah, I think I might have told these in the past. I got to go throw at Dodger Stadium, BP for the Rocks when they went out to play the Dodgers, and to be on that mound, Koufax, I had to wear Depends. It was just so amazing. And anyway, I threw. They let me throw first, so I could go get showered, changed, and then because we were going to go to the game after PP. So I finished up. I'm heading into the dugout, and the visitors' dugout in Dodger Stadium's first base side. So I'm heading, just starting down the steps, and there are three girls, teenage girls, kind of behind the dugout. Oh, hey, hey, they're waving, and uh, they've got papers. They want somebody to sign something. And so I stopped and, yeah, was and I said, no, no, I'm just a batting practice pitcher. All three of them simultaneously went, oh, and just kind of. So, it was humbling.
Yeah.
And then I had one at Coors, a dad and a kid, and the kid was like 5. So, I was leaving. I was going to head into the dugout, and then the kid's. He doesn't know if he's at Disneyland or Coors. And the guy said, "Hey, can we get your autograph?" And I said, because I didn't want to mess up a ball that
Right, right.
Hilton was going to sign or Walker or somebody. And I said, "Well, I don't. You don't want my autograph because I just throw BP and And he goes, like he'll know. Points at the kid who's.
Great. So you signed it.
No, I didn't.
You didn't sign it. Well, it's funny because when I was working at Connie Mack Stadium, otherwise known as Shibe Park, I was a vendor. But and I certainly wasn't as tall as Rick Wise, okay?
Right,
But
right.
you never can put it in perspective, really. Okay.
No.
It's very difficult to see the height. Now it's a little the way high definition TV and all that. And I'm walking out, and I wore glasses. He wore glasses, and the players' entrance and where they left was almost the same as the vendors' exit.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
there were people waiting there. Rick, will you sign? And I went, well, here's a question. Do I say no and have that kid say, that Rick Wise, he's a real jerk? Okay.
Mm.
Or do I say, I'm not Rick Wise? And they say, oh, yes, you won't. We know you won't. So I say, I signed Rick Wise. So somewhere, some kid has a
Oh,
Wise
geez.
autograph that's mine. It's the only time I did that. So, you get caught. You say, like, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. That's, well, I think I mentioned our technical difficulties show, um, speaking of getting caught, in 95, the Rockies made the playoffs, our first year at Coors. and
Right.
we're playing the Braves. I remember Art Howe was the hitting coach for the Rockies
Yeah.
in '95. I loved him. He was just,
Great
he was,
guy. Great
he
hitter.
was,
Good hitter.
oh, good manager.
Good man.
Anyway, I remember when I got to the ballpark and I'm walking down to the clubhouse to get dressed to throw BP, and he's in the coach's locker room and he's watching video of Maddox. Maddox is going to start the first game, and I stopped and he's just looking. I said, "Oh wow, he's a surgeon, isn't he?" And he goes, "Oh yeah," because he was.
Yeah, he was.
So anyway, um, with my keen eye for detail, I had not noticed that suddenly now there were drapes where the locker room, where the clubhouse was, where the shower, all that stuff. That I didn't put two and two together. So I come in because I want to get cleaned up and dress, and then go to the game. So I take my towel, walk down to the shower, and I'm the only one in there. Everybody else is out taking BP, and so I shower and pull the drape back, and at least 20 reporters. There, some ex-major league. It was the Baltimore. He's in the Hall of Fame pitcher. Why do I always draw a blank on his name?
Palmer.
Palmer, McCarver, some women,
Right.
and I'm standing there with my towel, and they're all, what? Who is this guy? What's he doing in the shower? What are you? And so I have to, excuse me, pardon me, and do a serpentine route through this mass of people to, it was really embarrassing. But I learned my lesson because the next day I took a parka with me down to take a shower.
And you showered with it on.
It
This,
was,
yeah, put it on. I know, I
Then I
understand.
went, excuse me, and they all got out of the way. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun and games at Coors. The other one was, I think Frank Robinson. He'd retired, but he was part of. I think he was part of the Players Association.
Hmm.
Again, unbeknownst to me, he was going around every major league team and I guess giving them updates on the collective bargaining agreement and whatever. I don't know. And so I went down and I was showering, and it was a big shower room because after a game, a lot of guys in there.
Right.
And I didn't know he had decided to show up and have the meeting while I was in the shower. And so I can hear voices, but that wasn't unusual. The clubhouse was right over there. So, but come out. I should have started wearing scuba gear, I think. I come out with my towel, and there he is at the front of the clubhouse, and all the players are sitting, and he sees me come around the corner with just my towel, and gentlemen, we just stops. So of course, what does that do? All the players go. I'm surprised they let me throw as many years as I did.
Talking about the collective bargaining agreement, that's coming up. And I don't know what the hell's going to happen with that.
Oh, there'll be a strike.
You think so?
Yeah, but I don't think the players, they are not going to go for a cap. They're not.
Yeah, they're talking about a cap and putting caps on signings or international players or something. It's
a mess.
Well, here's the main thing I want to know. What teams aren't making money? I mean,
I don't know that. So much of it is television dependent for small market teams, especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I, if you're going to give, first of all, to me, again, this is just me, I would never, ever, can I say that enough times, ever, 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 ever sign any pitcher, especially today, for Boku bucks for 5, 10, 15 years. You've got to be out of your mind. They're not going to be pitching in 10 years,
Right.
probably
Exactly.
even 5, the way things are today. What did Juan Soto get?
A lot.
250 million or something? Stop it. He'd have to hit 500 before I'd sign him for that.
Yeah.
I just,
It's out of control. It's
it
it's
is.
and I called the Phillies and I said I'll play center field for $50 a game, a game, and they said I'm sorry, we're not looking for guys to play center field. But uh, the minimum salary for a major league player, I think, is $943,000. That's the minimum.
I
Okay,
know. It's
you look at Schwarber and Harper and Realmuto and Turner. I mean, they are making 20 million a year,
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
around
What
there.
would Mantle, Mays, what would they make today?
They asked DiMaggio. I think it was DiMaggio.
It was.
Yeah, and he said, I put my arm around the owner and say, well, partner,
And he could have done it.
you could have done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, remember when Ruth signed, the Yankees signed him and they gave him 80,000 and somebody said, "Well, babe, you're making more than the president."
Right.
And he said, "Well, I had a better year than the president."
That's true. It's true. And of course, $80,000 in $1929 or
That
nine,
was out of sight.
huge. Because I
Yeah.
remember my father saying to me when I was a kid, if you can make $10,000 a year, you're doing all right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Gallon of gas was a quarter. You
Yeah.
know, tasty cakes, which are like, Twinkies or whatever, were a dime or nickel, and for a pack of three and things like that. And so it's all relevant. I have an inflation counter on my phone, and sometimes students will say stuff,
Right.
say, well, let's see how this is in 26 dollars. Okay. Um, so these listen, $20 million is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
To
Yeah.
hit the round ball with the round bat's a lot of money, and to only work 8, maybe 9 work on the field, not
Right.
you don't work at home. It's like people say to me, "Oh, you're a professor. Do you work in the summer?" I said, "Well, yeah, sometimes I do." And but then you have professors never have any time off. They're always working. They're always
Yeah.
great. Always writing. It's the same with baseball players, but I'm talking about in the classroom or on the field during the season. It's they're always working, but I would do it for $1 million. When did it get to 10, 15, $20 million? You can live very well on $1 million a year, even though
Absolutely.
taxes or whatever. But okay, I can see 5 million, 5 million now, but 20, 30, come on. What is
140.
Otani got $700 million?
Yeah, it's all deferred and
At the first, but
yeah. Is he going to be pitching 5 years from now? And if he is he going to be as effective as he is now? He's already had arm problems.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
But I think the owners and Major League Baseball is starting to realize, probably has for a while, this is out of control.
it's out of control.
But the Players Association is way too powerful, and they won't have it. And they'll call for a strike and not probably realize how much they're killing the game. for the fans.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's insane. Some
It
of the
is
money I can hit 220 and make 10 million a year.
crazy.
Give me at 106. Give me a bat. I'll do it for 100,000 a year. You
That's
know,
right.
I
That's
can
right.
bunt. I can bunt, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's crazy. And certainly if you're a player, you don't want to give that up. And I get it. I get it. They've taken you there. You've worked with this realization of I'm making 10 million a year, 15 million a year, 8 million a year, 7, whatever it is. I don't want to give that up.
Well,
So
sure. I absolutely I understand that.
yeah.
But
So
are you looking at the health of the game or just my health? You know, I mean, I understand. Gee, I want to make as much as I because it's a short career.
it is a short
I
career.
mean, you got to be 10 years in to get vested. Most guys don't make that. They don't make the 10 years.
No.
And
And it's guaranteed.
right after 10.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Unless you commit robbery or
yeah,
murder.
yeah.
But if you just are, well, we've got Chris Bryant here who'll never play again, and he signed for $143 million. He's going to get $143 million and probably never play another day for the Rockies.
He played for the Cubs, didn't he?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
played for the Cubs. Schwarber played for the Cubs. I think they did the Cubs DFA Schwarber. They must be banging themselves in the head for that. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they wish they had him now.
yeah.
But
But
he's going to get his bucks. And, I mean, I understand you can't help if you get hurt,
right,
and if it's like Bryant's case, it's his back.
can't play.
So he can't do it. Okay. There should be some, yeah, compensation, but all of it when you're not, what other job could you do in the world where you go, my back's bad. Okay, Bill, well, we're going to go ahead and pay you the 5 million a year for the next 10 years. See ya. They wouldn't do it.
Tyron Walker, the Phillies released, and Nick Castellanos, who the Phillies released. I think they both make 17 million a year. Castellanos then went to San Diego, and I think released him. They
Mm,
make 17 million a year. So why even play? I mean,
absolutely.
not,
I'm going to make my money no matter what.
and you don't have to play again for the rest of your life.
No, it's
That's the last year of their contract. So they've been making that all along. And
yeah.
I don't, you can fault them, but you can't. Somebody offers you, here's $20 million, and you got a good agent who made 15% off of that, or 10%, or 20%, whatever it is, and that's their job. And they just signed a contract, the ball club, for $1 billion with Comcast, okay, or whatever, and they sell all this, the hats and the shirts and everything else. Their revenue's coming from all over the place, radio stations, everything else. And the players go, well, if we weren't playing, you wouldn't be making any money. It's like a
Right.
show,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
How you
Yeah.
going to make a movie without actors? So, and it is entertainment, but you don't make so much money that you kill the golden goose, which is
Well, and
possible.
it's just part of what frustrates me is, and hey, if somebody wants to pay me 5 million to play baseball, okay, I'll do it. I mean, that's
Right.
on them, not me. My job is to perform. However, somehow they've lost track of who's the employer and who's the employee.
Yes, that you
I
work for.
mean,
Yeah,
if I own the team, I'm sorry, you are playing for me. I
right.
own the team.
Correct.
And, am I paying you fairly? Yeah.
Right.
So it's what worries me is just the health of the game. I don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
baseball's not being crisply, I'm being kind there, played anymore.
And
And, uh, fans have got 10 other choices to make than go to a baseball game.
Right. And
So,
the
huh?
price of tickets keep getting higher and higher and higher.
Oh, and food at the ballpark and
Crazy.
parking and
Yeah, everything. $20 to park. $20. Are
yeah.
you kidding me? And then, and that's probably split with some contractor or whatever. And then a $7 Coke and a
Yeah.
$9 hot dog or $8. It's insane. And now they will get more revenue because they're talking about expanding.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like I don't know where. Okay, maybe Montreal and maybe Carolinas or wherever.
I don't
Sacramento. They were talking about adding Sacramento. It is the largest area, a metropolitan area without a major league team.
oh
So,
wow.
in the United States. So, and even though it has the A's right now for a couple of years, so they were talking about that. But we'll
I
see.
don't I don't know. It's worrisome, but and I know this is a shock to you, but there's nothing you and I can do about it.
No, there isn't. Which leads me to this:
Uh-oh.
is nothing we can do about it. We enjoyed talking about it, and this has been another great Dan and Jan Go Yard. So
Doggone right. We are. And does
Dan,
this sound immodest, that we are brilliant?
we are, and I will put a check mark to that. Absolutely,
Absolutely.
check.
Absolutely. By the
But
way, I'm going to put up another vintage baseball. It's you read my first one,
yes, yes,
Moonlight Graham.
yeah, yeah.
This one's called The Duke, the Mick, and Me.
Ooh, ooh, ooh! I want to see it. I want it. I
Yeah,
want it.
I'll shoot it to you.
Great. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jan, I want to thank you once again.
Oh, Dan, it's always a pleasure.
Great.
And you
And
look marvelous, by the way.
well, the way I put the beard on, the Velcro's holding.
It is. It's beautifully centered.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's kind of over here, but no, today it's right on.
yeah, because my wife is my designer. She makes sure it's put on right.
Oh, she does.
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
tell her she's
Yeah. But
she's
there
doing
is no back to this shirt, which is very interesting.
okay. Well, it's time for us to go. Uh, and you think I have pants on? No, never mind.
All right, Jan. We'll see you next time. Folks, we will see you next time on
Bye.
Jan Go Yard. Keep slugging, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.